Good morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Now before I start, I'd like to just put a little trigger warning disclaimer out there. I will be today discussing issues around food management and obesity in this video. If you are struggling with food in any way, please do not watch this video and seek professional medical help. This video is not intended to tell you what you should be eating in a day, or should my diet be followed in any way by anybody else. Please seek medical advice before engaging in any kind of weight loss program, any sort of new diet, any new exercise program, or any weight loss aids such as injections and the like. This video is just basically purely for illustration purposes and is in no way a balanced diet plan at this stage, 16 weeks post-op. I am currently taking and will be taking a multitude of different vitamins and supplements lifelong, so I'll be taking those for the rest of my life. All of the diet that I will be sharing with you, I shouldn't call it diet really, all of the food items I'm going to be sharing with you today has been given the go-ahead by my Gastric Bypass team, including the surgeon, the nurses and my dietitian, and they're happy with what I'm consuming at this stage post bypass. So as I say, don't be thinking that this is what you guys should be eating in a day. And like I say, if you're having any issues with food at the moment, please don't watch this video, and I urge you to get some professional medical help. Thank you. Okay, let's start then. So as promised in my original gastric bypass video, I then said that I would make a video showing what I eat in a day. Sorry, I've got a gammy left eye today and I'm not sure. I think my eyelashes are rubbing on my glasses lens. Sorry, I said I would make a video just outlining what I'm currently eating in a day. Sorry it's taken me so long. I am currently 16 days and 16 and 4 days post-op. 16 weeks and 4 days post-op. So I wanted to give you about sort of an overview. It's only very recently in the last couple of weeks I've started introducing more vegetables and stuff, but I'll talk to you about that a little bit in more detail a bit later on. So the first thing I want to say is that please bear in mind that I am currently following the guidance that was set out by my bariatric team, and I'm currently doing the 20-20-20-20 method of eating. Now, this method enables me to consume the food in a more mindful way. So the first 20 out of the 4 is, sorry, I'm being nagged now by his lordship. Come on, you want to come and sit on Mammy's lap while I do this, do you? Right. Okay, right. So yeah, sorry, going back. The first 20 in the 4 20s is I only put on a fork or a spoon the amount of food the same size as a 20 pence piece. And that's all I chew at one time. Then I chew for 20 seconds. So that's the second 20. The third 20 then is I wait and put my fork or spoon down for 20 seconds after I finish chewing until I take the next bite. And the last 20 is once 20 minutes since I started eating has elapsed, whatever is left on my plate or my bowl, I do not eat. Okay, so just so you are aware that that is the method that I'm eating at the moment, following the guidance that I was given by my bariatric team. So like I said, all of this has been given to me by them, has been agreed with my dietitian, and they are happy with the amount of food that I'm currently consuming, including the protein and all those kinds of things. Again, this is not a diet plan that should be followed by anyone else other than myself. I have had a large amount of my original stomach rerouted and my intestines bypassed, so I am unable to eat any more food than I currently eat, and that will be outlined in this video. I am following everything that I've been told by my team to the letter, and I think now that the disclaimers are out of the way, let's get back. Oh, thank you, kissy boy. Thank you. Sorry, let's skip back to yesterday when I showed you everything that I ate in a day yesterday. So here's to past me. My favourite part of the day now, making my daily protein coffee. I've only been drinking coffee actually for almost 3 years, just before we took a trip to America. I've always loved the smell of coffee, but not really the taste. More recently, in the last, I would say probably 4 to 6 weeks, I've started making my own protein coffees. Previously, I had been purchasing protein coffee, but they can be quite expensive, ranging from sort of £2 to sometimes up to £3.50 each. And when you've got to buy one for each day, it does rack up the expense a little. So I recently found the Nescafe Espresso iced coffee, which you can see a little bit in the photograph. I think I'm going to show you that in a bit more detail in a sec. But also the syrup that I use, that I used to like before surgery, was the salted caramel, but more recently I've been able to find it in the no added sugar version, which has given me the sweetness that I like and enjoy. So as you've seen there, I've measured out 300 millilitres of semi-skimmed milk. I tend to keep my protein powder in this little tub because it is extremely fine. It's actually more finer than sort of icing sugar, so it does tend to go everywhere if I scoop it straight out of its pouch. Again, that's the Vive protein powder, which I'll show you in a sec, a bit more close up of a new pouch that I've recently bought. So yeah, just get my little handheld tiny whisk just to whisk that protein powder in. So just give that a couple of seconds of a good stir there, just to make sure that there's no lumps. I was really worried initially actually that because it's not a hot product that it wouldn't sort of disperse very well into the cold milk, but that seems to be fine. So I'm just pouring it into my very much loved catnip glass that I use every day to drink my coffee out of. So yeah, that's the espresso, the Nescafe espresso. I would have liked the caramel one, but the sugar in it is just way too high for what my body can tolerate at the moment. So I tend to mix, I use the same jug and mix around 50 mils of the espresso coffee, and I think it's about just under 2 teaspoons, I think I measured, of the salted caramel syrup. So I then add that into the ice and into the measured up milk. And then I hate seeing the amount of coffee and syrup that's left in the bottom of the jug afterwards. So I always give a tiny little drop of milk extra to the jug, just so I can get the remnants of all the good bits at the bottom that's still left in the jug. So yeah, and like I say, I have one of those every day around 10:30, 11 o'clock, depending on how early I've had my breakfast and started drinking my Stanley for the day. So and that's it, should be at my desk. So yeah, that's the Vive collagen powder that I'm currently purchasing directly from Amazon. I'm doing the sort of subscribe and save, and that usually lasts me around a month. There's the protein coffees. I have got still a couple in the fridge that I'm using just for sort of emergencies if I'm going out and about. But like I say, they can be quite expensive. For lunch then, so this is my Mission protein wraps. I don't tend to eat these every day. 1 pack of 6 wraps will last me maybe a week and a half. Sometimes actually they go to waste. A couple will go to waste, or I'll make some for my husband. So yeah, just using some ready-made frame grilled chicken mini fillets or chicken breasts, depending on what's on offer in Tesco's at the time. So I think it's a 170 gram packet, and I use that over two sittings. So I'll either have the wrap one day and maybe just some chicken with some cucumber and tomatoes then for the next day. So a tiny bit, about a teaspoonful of sweet chili sauce. It's extremely dry as chicken if you have it on its own. But because this is a plain chicken, I've gone with a sweet chili today. I don't know why, but since my surgery, my taste buds seem to have changed a little bit, and I much prefer more sort of spicier flavours than I ever enjoyed before surgery. So, which is quite nice, really. So yeah, just rolling up the wrap there. See me in a sec. Just cut it in half. The reason I cut it in half is I tend to eat from the middle, which enables me to get the majority of the chicken out. Because I don't very often, as you can see in this picture here, manage to eat the whole of the wrap. So these are just some alternatives to the lunch options that I have. This is the Vive protein water that I tend to drink in the afternoon. This is my tea time then. So this is the bowl of soup, half a bowl of soup that I poured out, and this is the soup that I had left. I basically just picked out the meat and some carrots and swede out of that. Then my cherries that I have as a snack of an evening. So I think there's 8 cherries in that bowl there, just because they were really small today when I did that. So yes. I hope you found that helpful and useful to know what I'm eating in a day. As I said earlier, I'm not currently eating very much. I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting variety in my diet. So some tips, I've written down some tips, and please excuse me for reading it from my notes, but I think it's useful, especially with my ADHD brain. I don't always remember everything, especially the wording, so I have made some notes. So following again guidance from my team, I currently do not drink for 15 minutes before I eat, and I also don't drink for 30 minutes after I've finished eating. Also, the 30 minutes after I've eaten is when I need to take my medication, because a lot of my medication, my vitamins and my medication I was taking before the operation, needs to be taken, it says, with or after food. So obviously the 30 minutes is the closest time I can take those after food. So I currently take my medications at that time, at 30 minutes after my food. This I found really tough at first. I am a sort of a chugger when it comes to anything to do with drinks. I've always drunk probably between half a pint and a pint of squash with my meals at every meal time, sometimes even topping up before I finished as well. So I was a big consumer of liquid during my actual eating. So that, like I say, it was quite difficult at the beginning, but I've learned to live with that. So I think I'm led to believe that this is to ensure that my stomach stays fuller for longer, because as soon as you drink something, especially after you've eaten, as soon as you've drunk something, basically the fluid will wash that away from my stomach, and I need it to stay in my little pouch for as long as I can to get the nutrients and things out of it, so and so that it doesn't push it further down the intestines too soon. So yeah, so I currently do that. I have only on a couple of occasions though eaten too quickly. On one occasion it was during the puree side, so I was between 2 and 4 weeks post-op, and I ate very liquidy Weetabix too quickly, and I had what I can only describe as sort of early dumping syndrome, where I didn't vomit, or I wasn't sick or needed the toilet urgently. It's just I felt extremely nauseous, extremely lightheaded, almost as if it was some kind of like sugar spike. Thank you, baby. And it made me feel quite unwell for a couple of hours actually. And on the other thing was when I was on the soft stage, so between weeks 4 and 6, when I ate some scrambled egg for breakfast, because I was trying to eat scrambled egg instead of the Weetabix, because it put me off after having the issue with the first time with the Weetabix. It happened to me again with scrambled egg, so I haven't been able to eat either of the Weetabix or the scrambled egg again. As you will see, I list in a bit now what kinds of things I am eating for each meal, but scrambled egg isn't one of them. Poached eggs, boiled eggs, yes, I can't eat a scrambled egg at the moment. And I haven't tried Weetabix since. I have also, especially in the recent weeks when it's been warm, attempted to drink my cold drinks too quickly. This has really hurt my tummy. It just feels like I am extremely full. I get almost instant pain when I know I've eaten or drunk something too quick. Any of you guys that have been through either a gastric bypass or a gastric sleeve may understand that, but yeah, that's not a pleasant thing either. And it's very, like I said at the beginning, you need to be eating a lot more mindfully now post-surgery, because your stomach is a brand new thing, you know. It's not the same as it used to be, and you can feel, as strange as it is, you can feel every little item of food or liquid that goes into your stomach. You feel it all going down, and get a lot of gurgling and noises and a bit more sort of belching than I've noticed in the past. But pretty much sometimes as soon as I open my mouth to put a spoonful of food in, the noises just come out, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. It's just part and parcel of the new stomach, I suppose. So I am currently eating off a side plate. As you saw in the video earlier on of me making the wrap, I only ate the wrap off a large dinner plate because it's easier to make it on a large dinner plate. Otherwise the wrap would be overflowing a side plate. And I also eat from a small bowl or a ramekin, if it's something that's more sort of liquidy or whatever, soup or those kinds of things, bolognese. It's really strange when I dish out food for the family now, because I feel like I've swapped a serving dish with my child, and she's coming up for 12, and I'm having the tinier portions that I would probably have feeding her when she was 2 or 3, and she's having a large plate now with my husband. So it can be strange. I have at times really over exaggerated how much I believe I can eat onto these plates and into the bowl, because in my head, it's like, I really fancy that, I really wanted that for tea, I've gone to the effort to make it for us, and in my head I feel like I can eat it again, and I can't. But it's just getting to know what your triggers are for getting full. I feel full quite easily. Maybe the 4th or the 5th bite of food I start to feel it, and then I probably will go maybe 1 or 2 spoonfuls more, and then I stop. And I've learned to stop earlier now, 16 weeks post-op, than I did right at the start, because like I said with the drinking earlier on, that it feels like you've eaten a massive Christmas dinner. That's the only way I can describe it. My husband asks me all the time, what does it feel like when you feel full? And because it takes your brain or your stomach to send messages to your brain, it takes sometimes 15 minutes for that to happen, to say that you're full. if you've overdone it, and I have on a couple of occasions, and it's been extremely uncomfortable for quite a few hours after. So I try and stop now before I get to that stage, because I would rather stop there and have something else, like a piece of fruit or something, a couple of hours later, rather than feeling unwell like that straight after I've eaten, because it's really not pleasant. The key at the moment for me, and the most difficult thing that I found through the whole of this process, is one, the textures. Again, I've alluded to this in a couple of videos before as well. Because of my neurodivergence, I didn't realise just how badly I was affected by food textures. I'm really fancying crunchy food, and I don't mean like a raw stick of carrot with some hummus. I mean salty crisps, McCoys, Pringles, anything that's really crunchy. I'm really struggling with that at the moment, and getting variety into my diet. So as I alluded earlier on, I have started introducing things like cabbage. I am eating a little bit of lettuce now. I actually find raw vegetables like lettuce and raw carrots, when I've had it with hummus, more difficult to digest. They seem to sit heavier in my stomach than, for example, a week last Sunday, I made a chicken dinner for the first time, and I bought a sweet tart cabbage. Mia absolutely loves cabbage. She's one of the only children I know that loves sprouts and cabbage and sweet and broccoli and all the rest of it. She loves her veg. And I tried a bit there, and that sat better with me, which I was really nervous about, than sort of lettuce and raw carrots and things. So I've been trying to get more variety in. It's quite difficult. I'm still limiting the carbs. I had made a spaghetti bolognese last week, and they had it with pasta shells, and I tried 2 pasta shells with a scoop of homemade bolognese sauce, and it was okay. I'm not overly fussed on the carbohydrates anymore. The only real properly carbohydrates I'll eat are some protein bread, some protein wraps, as you saw in the my lunch video earlier, and a very small amount of like new potatoes. But then I'll eat maybe half or a quarter of a new potato, and I would rather stick to the protein and stick to the vegetables first, like I've been advised to. So yeah, all in all, it's going really good. The variety, like I say, is picking up. I don't feel as scared to try new things as I did at the beginning when I first started on solid food after week 6. What I have noticed though is I don't look at food in the same way as I used to. Food for me now is just fuel for my body. Most of the time, it's not the pleasurable experience that it once was in the past. I'm getting through it. However, psychologically, I think once you've had issues with food, and mine lasted decades rather than months or years, it's still really difficult to get your head around the fact that you can't use food as a coping mechanism anymore, because you just haven't got that stomach capacity for it, and it does make you feel extremely ill when you overeat. I haven't indulged in any of the things that would have given me pleasure before. There were times and on occasions where I'd eat a sharing bag of chili heat wave Doritos of an afternoon just in front of the TV, mindlessly watching some kind of box set that the rest of my family would not enjoy watching. I still struggle with mouth hunger, as I said, with the wanting, the crunch and the saltiness. I still suffer with the head hunger, so my head telling me that I need or want to eat something when I know it's only been a couple of hours since I've had my evening meal and I'm not remotely hungry. And it's usually, which has always been the case for me, when I'm relaxing and watching telly of an evening. As you've seen earlier on when I was showing you what I eat in a day, that's what those 6 to 8 cherries come in handy for me in the evening, because I tend to keep them for 2 or 3 hours after I've had my my evening meal. So around sort of 8 o'clock or whatever, I'll have my 6 to 8 cherries. I'm allowed to have fruit with every meal, but I don't have my fruit with my evening meal, and I keep them for the evening instead. My dietitian was concerned when I spoke to her about this, because she said she doesn't want to encourage me to be eating in front of the TV if it is a trigger for me. However, because I'm not sitting there with a whole punnet of cherries, she's happy that I'm measuring them and you know, only allowing myself those 6 to 8, depending on the size of an evening. So she's happy enough with that. I just want to say that, as I said earlier on about the fancying crisps and things, look, nobody's saying that I can't eat those things now or in the future, but my biggest issue is I don't want to be falling into a trap where I either really like it and psychologically I feel like I deserve that at the end of every day, which is what I used to do of an evening before, or also psychologically I don't want to eat it and then not see a difference on the scales. What I mean by that is not put any weight on or whatever after eating them, and then having that psychological effect of, well, the last time I ate them, I didn't put any weight on, so I should be all right to eat them again. I don't want to fall into that trap. It's been just over 6 months since I've eaten anything like crisps or biscuits or cake or anything like that, and I'm just absolutely terrified to start again, to even think of introducing them back into my diet, because I am afraid that I will go back down this sort of slippery slope again. I should have probably said at the start, actually, I am currently 2 pounds short, or £1.75 pounds short of 6 stone weight loss. So I really, really don't want to undo all of that hard work that I've done for the last 6 months. And, you know, I want to treat myself with kindness now, not fuel my body with things that are of no nutritional value. And that's been the most difficult thing for me. Like I said, in that course that I did, gosh, 18 months ago, maybe 20 months ago now, you know, the what head hunger is, what mouth hunger is, all of those things that you learn. And to think what I was putting in, not just my body, but feeding to the family out of convenience, because, you know, neither myself or my husband are very well. We've both got disabilities. You know, cooking from scratch is difficult for us a lot of the time, but, you know, these convenience things were giving us absolutely either none or very little and kind of nutritional value. So I'm trying to I've been buying pre-prepared, pre-chopped up vegetables to make soups and things, and just trying to feed us all really better stuff, because, you know, our bodies need fuel, and I've managed to get my head around that now. But sometimes it's difficult to tell an almost 12-year-old that she can't have pizza for tea when she really wants pizza for tea. So it's all about balance, isn't it? You know, everything in moderation is what they say. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of going for. Sorry if I'm wriggling this one. He's trying to have a little sleep. Oh, Mammy, he likes a little catch up with his Mammy. So yes. Exercise wise, I'm currently doing between 20 and 30 minutes of exercise at home every day. I'm doing Pilates. I'm doing some very basic strength training with using the lightest, I think they're only 1 kilo and 2 kilo dumbbells at the moment. Just trying to work my upper body, because I'm noticing a little bit of loose skin coming, but that'll be for the next video. The next video I do, I think, on this topic of my gastric bypass will be the pros and cons so far. I think being 16 weeks post-op now, I'm noticing a lot of good, but I'm also noticing a couple of things that I did know about before my operation. However, I didn't realise would affect me as much as they maybe am. So yeah, I'll leave that for another video. So like I say, please don't follow this diet. Please don't see it as, oh gosh, she's losing this much weight. And there is, what I'm eating in a day is not nutritionally sound. It is not something that should be followed by anyone, excuse me, other than myself. I've had the advice from my dietitian. She's signed off everything that I'm eating currently, and I am taking, like I say, multitude of multivitamins and minerals, and I'm having my B12 injection every 12 weeks. I am lacking in some nutrients, which is something I want to talk about in the other video with regard to my nails and my hair and things. So please, if you've got any issues with food, please speak to somebody professionally, and please do not follow this sort of day in the life, what I'm eating in a day video as something that you can do for yourself, because it's not sustainable for somebody with a normal sized stomach. And also, even if you have had the bypass or the sleeve, you know, what I'm eating may not suit your team, and they may not advise you to be eating and drinking what I'm eating and drinking. So, like I say, if you are post-op, then please seek advice from your own team with regard to changing anything. All of the things I've shown you, so the Vive protein powder and the protein water and things, I'm not sponsored by any of those people. It's just what I've tried a few different, as I said earlier, protein waters and things, but these are the ones that seem to be sitting better with me at the moment. So yeah, there's sort of no thing with that. I'm just showing you what I find useful and things. So what I will say, if you've got any comments or any advice or any help in get more variety and any more ideas of what I can eat, as I said earlier, I don't eat a lot of fish, so it's difficult for me because I feel like the only options I've got are chicken, eggs. I eat beef maybe once, sometimes twice a week, but in different capacities. I have noticed that pork does give me an upset tummy, so I've stopped eating that now. I will eat tinned tuna for lunch. I don't really eat fish, as I said. I really want to, but I think for me it's just the smell that it leaves in the house. I mean, you know, 6 months ago, if had been said, should we have a chippy tea, I would have probably gone for fish and chips. But cod is definitely different, covered in batter and deep fried, than it is baked in the oven or fried in a frying pan, and the smell stays in the house for so long. So I really want to introduce more fish into my diet. So if you guys have got any sort of ideas on how to reduce smells from cooking, or any ideas of anything else I can eat, then yeah, please let me know. Drop me a comment. I'm up for any kind of like advice or support or help that you guys can offer, because like I said, food is like fuel to me now, and I want to start enjoying it again, but I'm also really worried about introducing new things and making sure that I'm getting the protein in. That's really important now and for the rest of my life, really, just to try and keep that muscle mass. Okay, ADHD brain again, going off on a tangent. If you've liked this video, please like it. Please subscribe if you haven't already before you leave. It really does help out the channel, and it also helps YouTube push it out there to other people who may find it useful and helpful. And yeah, like I say, I've got a few other videos coming out soon with regard to this, my ADHD and sort of lifestyle vlogs. So if you like it, please subscribe, and yeah, I look forward to see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, guys, and as I say, embrace your difference and make it count every day. Thank you. See you soon. Bye. So this is just a list of alternative evening meals that I have, and also this is what I use for my morning and evening coffees. Thank you very much, guys. See you soon.